Alright, good day everyone. Today, my name is Nick Daniels, and we're going to be talking about One Night Ultimate Alien Edition today. It's going to be the second last edition we talk about, also with the bonus rules. So we're doing a little mini-series here on how to play this game, as I get so many requests in person to talk about it. So without any further ado, let's get right into it here. So this is the Alien Edition, as you can see here. Very fun, by the way, very entertaining, and a lot more complicated than the first two, which would be the One Night Ultimate Werewolf and the One Night Ultimate Daybreak, as we'll just usually call them Werewolf, Daybreak, Alien, and Vampire. Now, there is a bonus rule or two that play very nicely with this edition, so we are going to be talking about one of those cards briefly. But without any further ado, we'll show you how to kind of set the game up, what cards you're going to be looking at, and the general objective of the game as well, if you're not up to speed. Okay, so we've got the cards laid out here in front of you. So as you see is the usual layup. We have two teams. You'll have your villager team, per se, and then we have today the alien team. Now, as you see, the alien team's a little bit strong off the base game of Alien. There's no extra expansion right here, except for one of the bonus rolls. They give an extra alien called the Body Snatcher. Now, we'll put him here at the top just for now. As you can see, the Body Snatcher here at the top. Now, he is in an additional pack of cards that you can buy, but not in the base game of Alien, so we're not actually going to talk about him too much today. However, we're going to talk about all the aliens here and how they work against each other in this variation of the game. So unlike Daybreak or Werewolf, where they're trying to really work together, some of the aliens are working against each other and make it a very interesting twist. And the same goes for our villager team. So as usual, the objective of the game is, if you are one of the aliens, is to work together as an alien and vote out a villager at the end of the game, at the end of the timer. And the opposite is true if you are on the villager team. You are trying to vote out an alien, so you're trying to compile your information together, because the app will tell you what to do and things like that. Try to compile that together and vote out an alien. However, like I said, the aliens, some of them do win on their own terms. And depending on some of them that are in the game will get very much more interesting. So we're going to set up the table as regular, so you'll have 3 middle cards that are face down, and every player will get 1 card that will be face down. So we'll quickly do that for you guys now. Okay, so we now got the board set up. So you see something a little bit different with this board today, is every player has a number in front of their cards here. Now, of course, you're going to space this out a little bit better than I did, but just for this YouTube video here, it's just convenient to have it just like this. So the numbers aren't too particular to the player. Any player can have any number, it doesn't really matter. But the app is a lot more random this time, and it'll actually tell you how to kind of play your own role. So for an example, in the base game, the troublemaker would say swap 2 players' cards, like so. Well, in this game, it might actually tell you what number to swap, or it would say, for example, any odd player's card. So like, for example, like 5 and 7 could be swapped. So it'll be a little bit more specific on certain things like that. And I think it also builds up the more randomness of the game, which also can be very nice. So again, as we usually go here, as per standard of this game, the alien team would open their eyes first. And when they do so, we'll have a few aliens waking up.
Aliens, wake up and look around for other aliens. All aliens together may view a card from Player 8, Player 3, or Player 9.
So first, we're going to go through each alien here, because they all work a little bit differently. So the aliens on their own will wake up first. So you'll see all 4 aliens here, and they're all going to have their eyes open. Now the aliens may get to do something with the app, if that happens. Now, sometimes there's a token that can be in play, like one of these little cards, but a token, and you'll be able to move that to a player and make them an alien. I will hopefully do this video a little bit differently, and I might pause it throughout this video and play audio clips from the game for examples of some of the randomness that can happen. Other times you will play just normally. Aliens will wake up and look for other aliens. Now you see that there's 4 aliens here, and they're all named a little differently. So the way that this works is you have your regular alien that works on the alien team. You have the synthetic alien, And the synthetic alien is a tanner in the sense that the synthetic alien will only win if the synthetic alien is killed off. However, that means the other 3 aliens will lose. Groob and Zerb will also wake up later after these 2 aliens.
Groob and Zerb wake up.
And when Groob and Zerb wake up, they will see each other. The only way that Groob and Zerb win is if the other alien is killed. So for example, Groob only wins if Zerb is killed, and Zerb only wins if Groob is killed. In that way of thinking, the other 2 aliens will lose. However, if Groob or Zerb are in the middle cards, they will play regularly on the alien team. So Groob and Zerb against each other, and the synthetic and the regular alien are technically on the same team, but the synthetic is trying to kill himself. Now, for the bonus rules, we mentioned there is an extra alien, the Body Snatcher, but we will probably talk about that in the bonus rules video I will do, which will cover another 6 or so cards that can be implemented into these games. But the Body Snatcher goes very well, obviously, as an alien with this layout.
Oracle, wake up and answer the following question. Would you like to exchange your card with one from the center?
Now, first, the Oracle will play. So the Oracle gets the ability to answer the app. So if you have a smartphone, the app will usually tell you how to kind of play the game and what roles to pick. But this time it will ask the Oracle a question. Now that question could be very interesting. For example, the Oracle could be asked if she would like to join the alien team. She could be asked to make a ripple in the space-time continuum. And what that does is that randomizes things later in the game and switches things up, and it can redo the round and people can redo the rules again. So very interesting things can happen, and the Oracle has the ability to say yes or no on the phone to those things.
Leader, wake up.
If we move to number 2 here, the Leader is a very interesting card. So the Leader will actually see who Groob and Zerb are. Now, if the Groob and Zerb are in the game, indeed in the game, the Leader only can win if those 2 stay alive. Now, all the aliens will stick out their thumbs, but if Groob and Zerb are in the game, and they actually did see each other though, they will point at each other. So that way he will know which ones are Groob and Zerb and what ones are regular aliens. Now, of course, if Zerb was in the middle, for example, all 3 would just stick their thumbs out and he would know who they are. So if that's the case that only the 3 are in, he is actually on the villager team and wins with the villager team. But if Groob and Zerb are alive, both have to stay alive in order for him to win. So it can be a very powerful card, and at the same time, it can also be a bit of a step backwards, trying to keep 2 players alive who are also trying to kill each other.
Mortician, wake up.
The Mortician is next. So the Mortician gets an interesting ability and has an interesting winning scenario. So the app will tell him what to do, and what he can do is he can look at one, both, or none of his neighbor's cards. So again, the app will say, look to the card on to your right, to the player of your right. And when he does so, he actually wins if at least one of his neighbors, so the person to his left or right, so in this example, player 4 or player 2 die. And he doesn't have to view the card for them to die. He just has that ability to look at one of the cards, or both of the cards, or none of the cards. So if player 2, the leader here, was voted out, the Mortician would win, for example. And if player 3 or 4 was voted out, the Mortician would win.
Rascal, wake up.
So also in this situation, multiple teams can win. So next up we have the Rascal. So the Rascal wakes up and is told by the app if he can move 2 or more cards. And then again, which of those cards will be varied up to the app. So he very much works like the troublemaker. So again, for an example, he might move any even players' cards with each other.
Psychic, wake up.
So for number 5, we have the Psychic. So the Psychic will wake up and is told that she may look at cards by the app. So again, the app will be very specific in which cards you can look at. So she works like more of a seer, so she could say look at players 8 and 9's cards, and the Psychic could do that.
Exposer, wake up.
And last but not least, we have the Exposer, and we do have 3 middle cards, of course. So not last but not least just yet. So the Exposer, again, depending on what the app tells them to do, the Exposer may flip up to 1, 2, or 3 of all the middle cards in the middle. So if the app says Exposer, you may flip up 2 middle cards. The Exposer can then flip those cards permanently and have them face up. If it was all 3, then he could flip all 3. So the Exposer can be extremely powerful, and sometimes it's a good reason not to have a Seer in the Alien variation, because the Exposer kind of does that for everybody. Now, talking about the middle cards here, what you have in play, we actually have a few interesting cards here. And one of them is the Cow.
Cow.
So the Cow's special ability is if anyone is sitting next to the Cow to the left or right of the Cow and is an alien, they have to tap the fist of the Cow. So the Cow will stick out their fist, and someone has to tap the fist. So tip the Cow in this sentence. So that is an extremely useful piece of information to know an alien is on your left or right. And if there's an alien on both left or right, only one alien does that effect. The last card we have is the Blob.
Blob.
So the Blob will actually be told by the app who is a part of the Blob. And what happens with the Blob is anyone, say to the left or right, or whatever player the app tells the Blob is in the Blob, now joins the Blob. So for example, the app might say the 2 players to your left are now in the Blob. So these 2 players here, 8 and 7, are now a part of the Blob. The Blob will lose if either one of those players or himself are voted out. So it's very interesting because you actually might be trying to keep an alien alive, but you would actually lose if one of them gets voted out, or if it's a villager, the same would be in effect. So that is the Alien Edition, quickly mentioned here. Hopefully that was very self-explanatory, but I know that can be a little confusing with how much is going on here. But I want to thank you all for watching so much, and hopefully that's explained the game a little bit for you. If you do have some questions, feel free to comment on the video, and I will answer to the best I can. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. We're going to see you in the next one. Take it easy. Peace.
There has been a ripple in the space-time continuum. Player 4, you may view 1 card from any player